I'm in a groove state of mind. I'm moving all the time. No excuses and no blame. I'm stepping up my game. I'm a groove student, yes I am. With groove I know I can. Read my master plan. I'm grooving, yes I am. I'm grooving. Oh, I'm grooving, yes I am. I'm grooving. I'm moving, yes I am. I'm moving. I'm moving, yes I am. I'm moving. I'm moving, yes I am. Groove Nation inspires me. The most loose and break free. I'm dancing through my dreams. Bursting at the seams. I'm feeling groove-alicious. Groove knows who I am. 'Cause now is my time to have a groove state of mind. I'm grooving. Oh, I'm grooving. I'm grooving, yes I am. I'm grooving. Oh, I'm grooving. I'm grooving, yes I am. I'm grooving.
Oops. Let's go to the solo. All right, everybody, we're live. Welcome to another Groovy Marketer podcast. I'm Mike Filsaime here, joined today as normal with Matt Seralta, my business partner, and awesome business partners, Matt and John Cornetta. And we also have some guests in the studio here today. We have David Steiff. I got that right.
Got it right.
And I'll never pause again like that. David Steiff, he's from DMS Digital Media Solutions, Digital Media Solutions. And we have Mark LaChance, but he says when he's in the States, LaChance, and he's from Maxi Media, right? And you have a gift, you said, for everybody.
Yeah, a gift for everybody. It's the luckyformula.com/quiz. So I just wrote a book called The Lucky Formula itself. So I want to give everybody their lucky score. So if you want to know how lucky you are, Mike, go to the luckyformula.com/quiz, do the quiz, and you're going to know how lucky you are in business and in life.
I love it. All right, so that's the luckyformula.com/quiz, and you can get access.
And by the way, when Mike says that he will never pause again on that name, he actually means it, because I've never met anybody that remembers names better than you. And I swear to God.
You
always say no, and I'm always like, no.
Once I tattoo it to my brain, the first 5 or 6 times, it literally, when somebody shakes my hand and says the name, I'm forgetting. Even when you said you had your friend Mark that was going to come the other day, I said, your friend's name is Eric? And then today I had to ask again. I think I've got it. Now it's
when
tattooed in
Eric,
my brain.
that's a default name. FYI, that's when
exactly. All right. So David, let everybody know a little bit about yourself. I'll do a brief little intro. So we had, I met David probably about 10 or 12 years ago at an event with Yannick Silver. And the same time I had met Mark the same way. But recently, Alex Jeffries was here doing what he called a tour, interviews with some of the people he looks up to as mentors, Mark Ford, myself, Rich Sheffrin, and David. And he says, do you know David Steiff? And I said, I don't know. I know a lot of people, but it doesn't ring a bell. And he says, oh, you really need to know this guy. Then he started sending me video clips of the interview that they were doing. And then he did the Mike meet David, David meet Mike. And then it came in and it was in my phone. And so when we started talking, David said, look, I'm not really in your industry. He says, the only time I've circled around your industry was with a guy named Yannick Silver. And I was like, oh, then that's definitely where it is as well. But David, I know that your company at that time, 10, 12 years ago, was doing 20 million a year. You're doing about $500 million a year. Tell us a little bit about your company.
MES is a company that's focused on delivering what we call customers and near customers at scale on a performance basis. Basically what we did is we just figured out how to identify people that are in market, that are interested in different products and services. And then we have the ability to, tee up those individuals for our clients, and they pay us on a performance basis. We make a market in a few areas, make a market inside of online education, as well as the health and auto insurance space. I'd say that's really our biggest areas at the moment. But we're also channel agnostic. We own an ad network. We've got the ability to go into pretty much any vertical that we want to go into.
So you focus on lead generation for a specific client, or do you capture the lead and then tell people, hey, we have these leads if you want them?
Actually, it is specifics. It's specific clients like Allstate, State Farm, for example. So
the big people.
Yeah.
And you're focusing on you specialize in things like insurance, or maybe like 5 or 6 things, or anything?
I would say just over 50% of our business today.
Yeah. And that's do you do mainly online, or do you guys also do television and radio and things like that?
The only crossover we have is our call center. That's it. So that's the only part when we go offline, but that's about it. We engage online. We bring the consumer into the call center. We filter them out the call center. We just want to make sure that they're really in market. And then at that point, we'll tee them up for our clients.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah. So, which is important. I think a lot of digital marketers have really, thanks. A lot of digital marketers have really moved away. They were like, oh, we can get away from the cost of sending direct mail, and we can get away from having to call people. And they got so focused on automation that they didn't realize the effectiveness of having a person actually calling customers. And even for us, that's going to be a place we're going to be going next year, doing demos and what we would call high touch. Marketers are starting to use it now. In fact,
Ryan.
Yeah, Groove has just released a new technology with a partner that I convinced to make their service free, and just make money on the printing. And then, so there's a company called Closem, our friends Laura Bettley. She has a CRM solution, but what I told her is, I said, I'm not interested in your email marketing and your text. We do that. You have something that is really incredible, and that allows you to send out a personalized postcard this size, and also a direct mail piece, front and back of a regular letter. So when somebody comes into your system, the same automation you would do for an email, a phone call, voice shot, or a text message, you can now say, if this trigger happens, if this event happens, then send out a piece of mail. But it can have stuff like, hi, first name, last name, their email address, what page they visited, the product that they purchased, or cart abandoned.
It's free except for the cost of the...
Well, that's the thing, is she wanted to do it for $99 a month. I said, if you just let me say that Groove just does this natively, right? And then I'll just build it, and we're just building it into our platform. Send an email, a text, a phone call, or a direct mail piece. And then when they go in, just like Printful, it's like connect with Closem. I said, let me have them sign up for free and tell them when they sign up that the mail piece is this, but for $99 a month, each piece is less. And I said, you're in the wrong business. You shouldn't be competing with ActiveCampaign and MailChimp and all of these different companies. I said, you have a solution that should be, we also do that. You should shift all of your focus to being an API that works with not just Groove, but Infusionsoft, Samcart, Click, everybody that does direct mail piece. And as soon as you put up a paywall, people are going to be like, well, I have to really decide if I want to use it. But if you can just go into any solution and just click and say, okay, it's going to cost me $1.70 to send this piece of mail. Oh, I can send it for $1.20 if I pay $99 a month. Then you're going to be able to get custom. Like, her mind blew on that. She didn't argue that point at all. But that gives us the ability to put on the front of our website that we can do direct mail. But yeah, so the fact that you guys are doing phone is something that I think that our people are not doing enough of.
It's important. You just have to do it right. And at the end of the day, nobody just wants a lead anymore, right? That's why I say we're not in the lead business, right? We're in the business of delivering customers and near customers, right? The customer is the person that's really ready to transact right then and there, right? The near customer is the one who's thinking about it. But really just want to make sure that you're in front of the people that are interested in what it is that you have to offer. A lead is, a lot of times people think of that as something bad, right? It's like, oh man, a lead, I got to dial it, think old school, right? Getting something on a piece of paper and just dialing. It's not like that anymore.
So, David, I want to come back to some of the things that we said, like you had a $20 million company that scaled to $500 million. I know that you also purchased a lot of companies in the growth as well.
And then there's growth through acquisition.
Yeah.
So considerable amount of M&A.
I want to come back in a few minutes for that. I want to introduce Mark as well. Mark, I met you. We found out when I saw you, said that we had met each other at Yannick Silver's event maybe 10, 12 years ago. If I'm going to tell you when I think that was, I know that I was talking to Gary Ambrose at that event that he needs to get on Call of Duty. And at that time we were playing Call of Duty Black Ops, which I think would have been 2010. So 2010 or 2011, because Gary got on and we used to game a lot. But that was an interesting event. I've been talking to Yannick and Tex as well. So you have Maxi Media. What is that?
So Maxi Media, we're delivering to steal David's. We're delivering customers and near customers to clients. So we're performance marketing.
Similar to what David does?
Similar to what David does.
How do you guys know each other?
We actually met at a Tony Robbins event, and I'll tell you when exactly I met you, because I met David in 2011, in January 2011. And that event I met you at was a couple of months after. So I think it was March or April where I met you in 2011.
2011. Yeah, awesome. In January.
That's right.
Right. And with Tony Robbins, which event was that? A UPW that you guys
I was
met?
at Business Mastery.
Oh, Business Mastery.
Yeah, so it was a pretty cool event so I get into the event and who's sitting right here? Literally, just like this.
Right next to each other.
David's sitting right there, and we hit it off and became good friends, and we have been sharing successes and databases and our Rolodexes together. It's been very successful.
One of those in Fort Lauderdale. That's the one kind of theater sitting, slope from the top to the bottom, Business Mastery.
Which is Unleash the Power Within.
Yeah, this one was in Vegas.
This one was Vegas.
Yeah.
So
I did UPW in the Meadowlands.
I did UPW in West Palm, and I did the business. It was like a 2-day business one in Fort Lauderdale that he did, but that was way back, early 2000s, I think.
You ever do a UPW, Matt? Yeah, we should.
We should do it. It was life-changing
For me.
But not sit together.
Well, yeah, definitely not. So that's what I was going to say. Better that you guys met for your businesses at a business mastery than a UPW. UPW, the person next to you, you're telling them stuff that you don't have family, your best friend. You have to open up. And I remember the stress that I was feeling about some of the stuff that I wanted to talk to there. And I just said, like, I think I'm going to skip this. But I went. I said, everybody's here. I'm not going to wimp out. And I said, I'm just going to trust the process and go through with it. But the Dickens process and that was quite an experience. You suck! You ruined your life.
Right.
You let this happen.
Right.
Yeah, that was
That was want to go.
I'll tell you how cocky I was back then. It was 2007.
I saw the picture, you and Tony.
Yeah. He's literally a giant. So I'm driving there with Tom, and we had just launched Butterfly Marketing, the 7-figure code, and I didn't get that right hand of humbleness for about another 9 months when the economy took a hit. I actually said something so cocky, like, I don't care if the economy tanks, and more people are going to get laid off and they'll need our services. Totally not the case. When it's bad for everybody. Tom had said to me while we were driving, what do you think? What are you looking to get out of this? What are you looking to get, from Tony? And my exact words to him after like thinking for 30 seconds were, I don't really think Tony has much to offer me, but I'm willing to go there to see. But I'm in a good place in my life. And I remember the most important thing that I learned was basically that like wheel of life. And he was like, All right, so talk about where if this is a graph, go where you are like financially for where you want to be. And so probably 85% of the way up, it was there. And then it was like, okay, where are you in your health? And I was like, all right, where are you in your relationships? And at that time I was struggling. And where are you with your faith? Where are you with giving back and all these different things? And he said, now many of you are looking like you have like a reverse flat on your big wheel, like and it was exactly that. I had this big spike that was going through, and I realized there's so much growth that is needed in my life to be completely fulfilled. And I was kind of embarrassed that I thought that I could measure myself based on a point in time and how my business was doing at that time.
Yeah, and we do that a lot too, right? You're feeling great in one area of your life, and so the rest of it kind of feels good. But I remember the firewalk, like, I'm not going to do this. I'm just not going to do this firewalk thing. And then, of course, I'm out there and I'm like, I'm doing the firewalk. I'm doing the firewalk. I burnt my feet so friggin' bad. I had blisters on the bottom of my feet. Now, you're not going to, nothing's going to happen to you. I'm like, and I was the guy.
Really? I
have pictures on Facebook. So every year the memory comes up and it's like, look at these blisters on my feet. No, cool,
Yeah, cool moss. See?
Yeah.
He said cool moss in your head. Cool moss.
Yeah.
Right?
Didn't work.
See, that was it.
You were actually saying, I'm going to burn myself.
Listen, what happened was I was the guy that right before I went, they were like, hold it, and they redid the coals. You know how throughout the thing they have to like kind of get the coals going again?
Oh, so
I was like
right when they stoked it.
They like stoked the
hold on a
coals.
second,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. And I'm just like, okay, you know what? I got. There's no way this is going to stop me. And I thank God for that guy at the end of the row with the hose, you know?
And you put your feet right in the water.
Yeah, but I
you just went, we're gonna have to cut that out of camera.
Yeah. Did it look bad?
You went,
oh, did I really?
Sorry at home there, folks.
It was a Freudian.
You're gonna be a meme.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna get to that.
That's your life.
Yes, we're live.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Having fun.
We're alive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, look,
Thank
we're
God for that guy with the
PG-13.
hose.
We're PG.
Watering me. It was watering me. That's what the hose
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
He's had, I think he's influenced so many people. He's done such great things. And look, it's not just what he does, but it's about what we do with it, right? There's people that just show up because they feel good, right? It's therapy. But it's what do you do with that? How do you apply? And how do you move forward, right? You can't sit there and just educate. If you don't take something and move forward, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
And I think he actually hammered that home with his first 30-day course. I mean, I remember living that in the 90s. You know, it was 5 days in a row and then 2 days of subliminals of him and his first wife. And the whole portion of that was building on the baby step from the day before, right? So his very first products that he put out was always building on the day from the day before, doing something small from what you had just accomplished.
Right.
So I think he's built his whole empire on people actually putting in the work. Everyone doesn't do it, like you said, but he's certainly built it around that.
I think it's interesting when we're all about the same age here in the room, probably within
32.
Yeah, 34.
Right.
Yeah. And
36.
Probably all within 10 years.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
if I can comment, we're all in our 50s, right?
I turned 54
I'm
yesterday.
51, but I just did a stem cell procedure, so I'm 3 years younger than all you guys.
Oh,
Wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Reverse
so you know.
aging. Reverse aging. Yeah.
All right.
And Tony, I think Tony's got the best opportunity for a generation now because I don't want to be that person that's picking on the younger generation, and I'm not, because when you skip past the millennial and the Gen Z, the generation that's now coming up to 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds, they're actually very entrepreneurial, very independent. They're all starting to say they'd rather be an influencer than be a CEO for a Fortune 500 company. And you know, the entitlement of the free trophies, they're not doing that anymore in school, but that generation from millennial to the Generation Z, there was an event on Netflix that Tony did. I'm Not Your Guru. I don't know if you saw that. And you could tell he's kind of shifted his message even stronger to break out of that entitled mentality that, you know, hey, you know, you were brought up to think that everything is fair and all these things, and you get into the workplace and you're like, this isn't fair. I'm certainly not getting into anything political, but what we're definitely seeing with the sensitivity and safe spaces and all these different things that happen at workplaces and colleges, you can see that that generation grew up a lot more sensitive than we did. My mother used to literally tell me things like, "Stop your crying, or I'm going to give you a reason to cry." Like that, you know.
My dad started that. He actually gave
Your
us.
dad started that?
My dad started that. Yeah, he actually.
Cops, you're not touching me, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
He,
I got the belt.
Exactly.
We came in second place in Little League, and I cried. And my father bought us all second place trophies. I remember it was way before that was ever a thing. He was just like, "I'm going to shut him up, and they're going to get a second place trophy." And we had a bigger party because my father owned the restaurant in town than the actual winners of the.
And everybody gets a participation award.
Now we get a participation award.
Right.
Yeah,
I think they're stopping that. I hope
They
I don't
better
know.
stop
think
that.
so.
That's got to go away.
Yeah, it's definitely got to go away. Yeah.
I mean, what's that teaching these kids? Think about it. What's that teaching them,
look
right?
at it to
Not
me.
anything is acceptable.
That's right.
That's what it's teaching
But it's
them.
also not teaching you where we all win. Hold on a second. We all don't win here.
Yeah.
All right.
Life
Certain
isn't
people win
like
a little
that.
bit more than others, right? You got to work a little bit harder. You want that big award, you better, score a little bit more, right?
I'm curious, John, like when your dad got you that second place trophy, did it make you feel good?
I was 8.
Yeah.
I don't really remember. I do remember it happening, and a lot of people in town giving me a bunch of grief. Oh, the spoiled kid. Because my dad was the highest taxpayer in the town, other than the factory. So we were like the wealthiest family, but in a town of 2,000 people outside of the city of New York. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like we were mega millionaires. Blue collar town. My dad is the guy, and I just remember, I don't know if it was that I cried or that it was so disappointing that we had went the whole year. It was the closest we've ever come to it. And he said, "No, you guys are going to get second place trophies, and I'm bringing you all into the restaurant." And it didn't make me feel bad. I kind of felt good. I had a trophy,
Yeah, I think the bad is the learning point. Like
it wasn't a great lesson.
Yeah, and not obviously your dad did something
Something right.
Yeah, something to make you feel good. I think I remember those things when we lost, and like I can't tell you how it shaped me, but I can tell you how it haunted me. And it like in wrestling, I wrestled in high school. I really wish I wrestled all 4 years, but I picked it up in my senior year. And I was a pretty fit kid, nothing like I am now. I was 121 pounds, working out, really, really jacked up. And in wrestling, you suck the weight down. And I was able to get my weight down to 105. And they didn't have 105-pound kids in 12th grade. So I was fighting the 11th graders and the 10th graders that made varsity. Some of these kids were like puny. And I went 18-0 until my last match. And my last match, and it's funny that I couldn't tell you a single other guy that I wrestled that year, but I remember his name was Craig Redding from East Islip High School. We got on the mat. He tapped me like this. I moved my head. He tapped me again. As soon as I moved my head, it was a fake. He went underneath, threw a fireman's carry, and in seconds I heard, and I got up. And I looked at my coach. I said, "What happened?" Because the whistle blew and everybody's walking. And my coach says, "You got effing pinned. That's what happened." And I've had this thing that like I've never been pinned. And so I've never wrestled since that day because I didn't wrestle in college. So I left my wrestling career being pinned with that feeling, like going from being 18-0 and having this dominant thing to 6 seconds on the mat being pinned. And nobody gave me any, I don't even know that I could have taken a trophy. Like the fact that if somebody would have said, "Here's anything," like, I like I said, I know how it haunts me to this day. Like I'll still keep talking these stories, but I know that it had to have some type of effect on me about this is never going to happen again. And I need to win. And I didn't. And that's, and that was going to allow me to go to the counties.
Yeah, I don't know. At 8, it didn't affect me. I think if I was older, it might have, but I have a very competitive drive still. So that trophy didn't do it. It didn't turn it off. I'll tell you that.
Are you outwardly competitive or inwardly? And what I mean by that is I'm one of the more competitive guys that somebody would know, but I don't let it be known. I'm the type of person that'll show up and whether it's going to be a race or whatever, and it's going to be like, yeah, good luck to you. But inside, I'm like, I'm not. It's not that I'm going to bury you, but I'm going to win this.
Yeah, that's more how I am. It's more internally, and it's especially if, and not in a bad way, like, you really can't do that. I'm like, oh, I can't. And not in a way like you're going to say, you really can't jump off that bridge, John, and I'm going to go jump off that bridge. But like that really, it's not realistic. You're not going to get that done. And then I'm like, oh,
Oftentimes,
I'm going to get that done.
right. Or you can be inwardly, competitive for yourself. Like you want to do that for yourself. It doesn't matter to do it for somebody else just because you want to reach certain goals for yourself.
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know.
I even compete with myself all the time, right?
I've never even asked myself that question. Like little things in school, like the Presidential Physical Fitness Award, all those little things. I always wanted all of those things. How do you look at yourself, David, as being competitive?
Inward all the way, man. I come in, I assess everything, I look at everything I need to look at, and I'm dangerous.
Yeah, professor.
Yeah, I don't say anything, but be careful.
Very similar.
Yeah, I won't shit talk, but
yeah.
I would say it depends on the situation.
You're a shit talker.
A little both.
He's a shit talker.
I used to be. I've learned.
Yeah.
Wisdom. Yeah. It's for me with being any opportunity to, when there was something, let's just say I can't even watch something like The Apprentice without watching an episode saying, I think they're doing it wrong. And I picture myself, if I was there, I'd be having a problem with that person and I'd have to get them in line. But I would first try to do it by being nice. I'd be a leader first and all these different types
Don't you hate it? Sometimes you watch the show and like, I don't know, I'm just making this example up. They're supposed to make the most amazing sign ever. And they have all these tools and the guy breaks out like a crayon and starts making a sign. And you're watching it like, are you serious? Like,
that's what makes great television.
You ever notice that's always the same problem?
Yeah.
It's always the same. Every show, right? In general, right? You look at all these small businesses, right? They're struggling. They call Marcus. There's a problem.
Like The Prophet. Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. We were talking. Oh, sorry.
We're
Apprentice. Oh, sorry. Apprentice.
Either one.
Prophet. Yeah. It's always the same problem. Yeah. And most of the time, what is that problem?
The people.
That problem is the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's the founder, right? The founder gets in his own way or her own way, which does not allow them to see the opportunity. But it takes a guy like Marcus, or it takes a guy like any one of you, right? To walk in, have a conversation with someone, look at something from a 10,000 foot level and say, hey, just make this change. It's kind of like golf, right? What's the difference between a good golfer and a great golfer? Just about a quarter inch. Yeah. You just move your hands differently and you get a better result.
So if you remember Business Mastery, what's the first thing he told us? You are the problem in your business.
That's right.
You are the problem. So that's exactly why I went there. I went there to figure out, I had 200 employees at the time, and I'm stressed out of my mind. How did that happen? Found out I was the problem.
Yeah, and I think it has a lot to do when it's the entrepreneur, because I've experienced it, is when you start a company and you grow a company, there are certain things that you do and you do well that started the company that no longer serve the company very well in the growth spurt.
Doesn't apply anymore.
Doesn't apply anymore, right? And so you're sitting there and you're doing that, and now you get stuck in your ways. And I've been there before. And you go to scale, but you're trying to do things the way that we've always done them. And it's like, yeah, but that got you here. That's not going to get you there.
Yeah.
We see a lot of that in the world of M&A. Look, we've done about 16 transactions in the past 5-6 years. And we see it all the time. We see great businesses. We see great leaders. But we also see why they're not getting past that point. And that's where we come in and we have the ability to take them past that point.
Yeah, it's always about the next level. Matt and I were talking with a client the other day, client friend. We'll call them Jim. And so Jim's doing pretty well, by the way. I think multiple millions per month. But was saying the typical thing. Well, it's different for my business. It's different for me. I can't find good help. And I said, you don't believe that there's talented people out there? No, there's no good employees out there. And as we were going back and forth, couldn't get through, the breakthrough thing that I said to Jim was, do you know what every single successful company in the world has in common? And Jim said, what? And I said, they don't have you. And so
that's a slap in the face, huh?
And what's that to tell them is that you're not the ingredient to success. because it's happened for hundreds of years and it's happened without you. So you have to get your ego out of the game and understand that success is about the process and the leadership. And as soon as you start saying, no, you don't understand, my business is different, I can't find people that are gonna do this, they're no good, they don't know it as good as me. And exactly, and at that point, yeah, you have to, and the look on Jim's face, I keep saying
I can
Jim.
imagine.
Just sat back,
Right.
just like, because it's the truth.
Yeah.
Every single company, the thing that they have in common is that you're not part of that company. And so that you're not the ingredient to success.
Yeah.
And so if that can happen for all those other companies, it could also happen for you if you understand you can get yourself out of the way by getting quality leadership in
learning to delegate.
I listened to something on NPR the other day about being average.
Mhm.
And it's the host asked the other person, what if I told you that you were just below average? How does that make you feel? And the guy, like, I feel like shit. But don't you realize that like just below average is a great place to be? Like, because most people suck, but nobody wants to be just below average or even average. You don't want to be there. And so you tell Jim that,
Yeah.
and it's like, what? My pride, my pride and ego would be hurt so bad. I mean, but you're right. You're the one thing that's in common.
But
That's not in those
to
other
your
companies.
point, and to the gyms of this world, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
The gyms of this
Jim,
world,
that's right.
right? What they try to do is they're trying to do everything,
Yes.
and that also prevents them from being
Absolutely.
successful.
And I think I know
Right?
Jim
That
was
was
I
me
was
when
at
I
the
met
meeting.
Yes.
That's the reason I went to Tony Robbins. I was doing everything. So I call it the entrepreneur's dilemma.
Yeah.
The entrepreneur thinks they're the smartest in the room.
Yeah.
They're the best salesperson and the best marketer and the best. Not true.
But don't get me wrong. Jim is very strong in many ways, right? It's got something very good going. I mean, Jim's built a business to
Can't do
a
that.
few $1 million.
Their
fairly
business.
fast.
Their business.
But what was so frustrated is coming out and looking at Jim is the amount of things that Jim wasn't doing that he could do. I mean, it wasn't even scraping the surface of that opportunity, and so many mistakes we could identify because
And I bet you Jim could identify, not Jim, but some other people can identify that in us as well. And sometimes you get caught up in your own stuff and you start cooking the same meal for lunch and the same meal for dinner.
Yeah.
And it's the same
It's a
thing.
thermostat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it gets too high, you sabotage to get you turn the heat back on to bring that thermostat back down. My favorite book, by far, like
Besides the Bible.
okay.
Besides the Bible.
My favorite book, and then there's everything else for me in terms of what had an impact for me was Jim Collins' Good to Great. And I remember the first 6 words of the book. I couldn't turn the page. I just had to look at this for 5 minutes, just what is that actually saying? It was profound. And you know it, right?
Good is the enemy of great.
Good is the enemy of great. Is that 5 words? Maybe
5, yeah.
5 words. Good is the enemy of great.
Oh,
6.
6.
Yeah, 6 words. Yeah.
So what does that mean? You settle for just whatever you got when it's good.
I looked at it like this. I guess it's subjective, right? But I looked at it like this: that God put us on this planet, and we have a potential, and we need to become great. Stephen Covey says that our purpose is to live, to love, to leave a legacy. I don't think anybody could argue anything else would fall into those categories. You need to live your life. You need to love others. And what's it all for if at the end of the day you didn't leave a legacy and do something that is passing on after you die? And if you're going to settle for being good at anything, I'm going to work out twice a week instead, when no, I have to achieve greatness. But in all that stuff in the wheel, we are failing ourselves, our family, our employees, everybody, if we wake up with the attitude to be good, because good is the enemy of great. It's not, you're not just saying good isn't good enough. It's literally the enemy of great, because great is your potential. Anything less is unacceptable. And so once you realize what you're great at, what he talks about in the book, that your hedgehog concept, right? He talks about the sly fox. The fox is so much smarter. It's kind of like the coyote, right? In the Roadrunner. It can figure out all these different ways. The hedgehog is slow. It's not very intelligent. It knows one thing and it knows one thing well. Oh, here's the fox, roll up into a ball and put out my spikes. And that's it. And now you can't bother me. So what he talks about is find out what your hedgehog concept is and what you're great at. And then what you need to do as you're building your company, the next thing he talks about is get the right people on the bus. Don't focus on where the bus is going because your destinations are going to change, but you get the right people on the bus. And in a startup, it's a startup. But at the end of the day, for somebody like Jim, what it is, it's having C-level people that have been there before in other companies that have gone public or sold for millions or billions as your CMO, your COO, your research and development, your operations, like all of these different things can be run by other people that are great at that one thing. And then you could step away and become the visionary of the company instead of having to say, I have such a, we were talking about it the other day, when you start looking at your business as you're the time teller. What time is it? Wait, I'm the only one that can tell you. I'm very good at this. I think right now it's 2:46. Oh, wow, look at that. Yeah, it's 2:46. Yeah, that's a good joke. That's a great joke. It was a clockmaker.
And really what it comes down to, I think, for anybody that wants to be successful, right? Anybody that wants to go out there and build an empire, well, you need to be a curator of people that have super abilities, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
And then
super
you let
abilities.
each person that goes out there that has that super ability, and you just keep encouraging them to do that. And don't pile shit on them. Am I allowed to say that? I'm sorry. I don't know.
Yeah, shit is probably one of the ones that we don't have said on there.
Don't
right?
pile things.
Shit is probably the one word he probably can't say, right?
Oh, what are you
He said, "Can I say that word?"
Of course.
I
But
think we're past shit today.
no, you know, a lot of young entrepreneurs, what they do is they try to save, right? Well, I don't want to hire another person. Well, why not? Well, it's going to cost me money. Well, you shouldn't be an entrepreneur because you don't look at hiring as a cost center. That's a place where you're investing, right? And if you're investing properly, that means you're going to find somebody with a super ability that can come in, that can help take that business and bring it to another level.
And David, isn't the key to let that person then do that job and then not get in the way of it and say, let me just put these handcuffs on you and let me just stop you. Yes, they have to be monitored in some way, but I also have found in my journey that even I myself, I've hired someone, this is the person for the job, and then all of a sudden I'm governing them in such a way that doesn't enable them. You need to enable them to think like an entrepreneur, even though they're an employee.
Yeah.
That's right. And it's more than that. I think everybody you need to hire for a specific position needs to know more than you do. If we're going to hire an accountant for the company and I know more than him in accounting, there's probably a problem.
That's right.
Or marketing. You want somebody that will, that's how you grow a business. Everybody you hire should tell you what needs to be done, not the other way around.
I think for our market, not our market, but our market, for the people that join Groove and or ClickFunnels, or anybody that's been a digital marketer, the people that would be at Yannick Silver's event, those people crack the code. And I think the biggest problem that our members have is they look at, and I can tell by the questions that we get in, what's the best freeway? What's the best freeway? They look at advertising as an expense, not as it's the gas that you put in your car that gets you to the destination that you want to go. It's an absolute investment that should have a return. And there's nobody in the world that's a successful company with advertising that's doing it to lose money. If they do, then they change that campaign. Campaigns are there to make money. And so our users have to have that paradigm shift of two things. Number one, you have to understand that advertising is what generates the lead. Obviously, then after that, it's conversion. Then you have to learn the on-site, the conversion. But again, even you, if you're the talent, you're the person trying to teach people how to get six-pack abs or how to get over, how to find a lover or whatever the case is. There are other people that can get the traffic, just like you guys do, and there are conversion specialists. So then the next question becomes, all right, well, you just spoke about two or three different things. Number one, I need to spend money on advertising. Number two, I need to get an agency to do it for me, to find the customer. Number three, I need to have somebody to build my funnels and my clicks. And so,
you mean to tell me I have to have money to start my business?
well, not only that, it's like that is the ingredients.
Right.
of the cake. That's the ingredients of a successful business. So you must be doing that. So if you don't have the money, the final question that needs to be asked, and I think this is something that you're very, very good at, David, it's a question that people aren't asking, even at the beginning of whether they're broke or something, is how do I raise capital? And there's many different ways to raise capital, either through loans or investment or bringing on partners or whatever the case may be. But I think that some people just think, well, I'm gonna eke this out through Facebook posts and Twitter and social media.
I'm
and
going to message
Instagram.
people with a copy and paste.
I'll be doing LinkedIn posts to this person and different things like that. And they're just looking fundamentally at their business.
And isn't the most common question? I know you know the most common question of someone who doesn't want to spend any money, and so they say to you, they're kind of a new person. They say, "Hey, David or Mike, can I ask you a question?" Sure. If you lost everything, what would you do to get it all back again? And I'm always like, exactly what I did to get it this time. You'd go to work, you'd get to work. Like they want that free, they don't want that answer. They want the answer of, no. What I really meant was, how can I do the shortcut? What's the free version? What's the shortcut?
Yeah.
They don't want to hear I would do exactly what I would die, because it would take me another 40 years to get back here.
Well, here's the difference. Here's the difference. You would just start it differently because of the experience that you have.
Yes.
Right? It'll take you less time because of your experience. What happens is, you get people that look at you today, they see a guy who's super successful, and they walk up to you and they want you to tell them, what are those 3 things? If I do these 3 things, how can I get to where you got to in 10 years in a day? Doesn't work.
Yeah, I think
doesn't work.
Oh, Matt, you were going to say something.
I remember a question being asked to a famous politician, like, what would you do if you had $1 million left? He said, I'll spend $100,000 on a product and $900,000 in marketing.
Yeah,
It's kind of,
exactly.
so he came back, mix the two together, actually.
What was just said just before that?
It's about the people asking the question, what would you do to start all over again?
So the questions that I like, because I think, success leaves clues, and you could always deconstruct what somebody's doing because you can just look at their success unless you're looking at a split test. So the questions that I like to always ask is, what's the biggest mistake that you did when growing this company? Or you always want to find out about the lessons that of the mistakes that they made, the landmines to avoid is really what's important to me, because success is pretty much the same formula for everybody else. It's the stuff the mistakes that entrepreneur made that says, it took me 5 years to learn that the hard way. Yeah.
Because you know what? We're never losing. We're learning.
Yeah.
And then we
It's
win.
data.
Right?
Yep.
That's it.
Never losing.
You know what? Hustle. That's how you get there. Because I guarantee you, every single person here today is hustled.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you find these kids today, they don't want to hustle. And you know why they're not hustling? Because they got a participation award.
Yeah. Well, you look. You
Those
look.
that do also,
What's
also
that?
good though.
Guys, can I
For
comment
the
on
few that also,
Yeah.
Because we have our company's probably 70% Gen Z. We have 250 employees, and we have some rock star Gen Z. So that's not.
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, we have some
Also,
great-
Oh, yeah.
If you pick the right ones, they have
Oh, right, absolutely.
incredible work ethic and incredible desire to win. So go ahead.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. When somebody in Gen Z hustles, hustles.
Well, that's
good.
it. That's the key. How do you want to get there? Hustle. You can't do it sitting on your butt. You got to hustle.
Well, it was a lesson I taught my son yesterday. I was telling Mike this. My son decided he wanted to run for class president, and then he tells me, like yesterday during the day, he goes, "Hey, I'm supposed to put up posters tomorrow and have a speech ready," and I'm like, "And you just told me about it now?" And he's like, "Yeah, Dad, I kind of forgot." I was like, "What do you want to do?" He goes, "Well, I'm just not going to do it." I'm like, "No, you're not.
That's not happening.
Get in the car right now. I want to play video games. Get in the car. We're going to Office Depot." I made him go to Office Depot, pick out the colors, pick out the pens, draw the posters, write out the speech. And he was like, "Why are you doing this to me?" And I'm like,
I'm doing this for you.
"Because you committed." Now he's 10, so I'm giving him perspective here. But because you committed to it, and now I'm going to make sure you see this through.
Yeah.
That's
And you
it.
better be elected.
I think he missed the deadline. Honestly, I think he was wrong with the whole thing. But anyway, he got the work done.
Oh no, this is life lessons that he'll
Right.
talk about when he gets older.
When things
was
very
very-
tough, don't pull back. Right?
Yeah, and either he'll win class president, and he'll remember back to the story, or he won't, and then he's going to learn
He
another
didn't.
lesson.
He didn't. He won counselor.
He won
So,
counselor.
Yeah. So he's
Oh, that's great.
yeah, he's a school counselor, a student counselor.
Oh, good for him. Congrats
Yeah,
for him.
yeah. Congrats, John.
Way to go, Johnny.
You have to tell me what that is.
I don't even know, but yeah.
Yeah. No, not picking on the Gen Zs. Good point. Obviously, there's.
I'm not even sure what gen he would be now. What is the next gen?
I don't know what they call it now.
And what gen are you? What gen are we?
I'm definitely Generation X, and you.
I'm on the cusp.
You're on the cusp. You and my brother are on the cusp of the baby boom.
57.
You're late. You're late.
No,
baby
1964 was the cusp of baby boomer and whatever.
I'm
came
gonna
after.
tell you what you are because I know
Yeah.
the difference between you and my brother, and which are the same age. You're Generation X. You adopted 80s music. You adopted computers and cryptocurrencies and things like my brother. So I graduated in 85. My brother graduated in 83, and I could see the difference of like when my brother went to high school, it was the long hair parted in the middle, down like this, the flannel, it was more
Concert buttons.
Yeah. It was Dark Side of the Moon. It was, exactly. It was the tail end of the hippie generation, dressing like Led Zeppelin, the open vest and stuff like that. And so the Commodore 64 comes out.
I got it.
And my brother graduates. For me, it comes out in 10th grade, and I have now 3 years of computers, and it obviously changed my entire life. I became a technophile, if that's a proper word for it, instantly for it. And then my generation was MTV. It was bi-level haircuts, parachute pants.
Yeah, I did all that.
Right. It was watching the WWF with Cyndi Lauper and Captain Lou and like that. My brother went to a different generation. That he was the very end of the baby boom.
So that's Generation X, though.
You're Generation X. If you adopted, you're into your phone and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I had parachute pants and all that stuff. And I had a
break
Commodore
dance?
64.
Did you have a cardboard? Did you spin?
Did I do what?
Did you break dance?
I didn't break dance. I actually got into fights on the dance floor, and the pants were so slick that when I hit the ground, I usually spun around.
Yeah. So if anybody says to you, "Okay, boomer," you could say, "Wait a second,
Whoa.
you got to watch the podcast."
Yeah.
I'm on the cusp,
and I'm
Gen X. Don't you dare.
Funny as shit. Last night, I texted my nephew, and we're going back and forth about whether or not Watson is going to be signed as a quarterback in Miami, and he's telling me all these things like I'm 5 years old, and I go, "Look, kiddo." And then he responded, and I swear to God, I wrote back to him. I'm surprised you didn't write back, "Okay, boomer."
Yeah. They're calling millennials boomer now.
Right.
The young kids are like calling. And by the way, millennials are 40.
Wow.
My 1982 started the millennial, and they're going to be turning 40 this year. So
my daughter's a millennial.
Yeah,
and she's 39 years old. I think my daughter is.
So Mark, it's 11:57. We got 3 minutes. I know you got to run in and take a phone call in 3 minutes. So I want to spend some time with you talking about your book here, The Lucky Formula. If you can, if you guys are joining us late, you can go to this website right here. Pull it up here. That's theluckyformula.com/quiz, right? Theluckyformula.com/quiz. You can click this green button here. Let's make my screen a little bit bigger. Whoops, wrong one. And then you could take a quiz here, and it'll tell you how lucky you are in business. Is that what it is?
Well, it's going to give you your lucky score on a scale of 1 to 100, tell you how lucky you are in business and in life.
And your book is...
And Mike, I bet you you're going to get 100%. That's what I think.
Oh, I should do it while we're on
I want
here.
you in my database. Mike.
Yeah, exactly. So tell us about the Lucky Formula. I know we've got just a few minutes left before you go to run.
It's a book about, again, is how to attract luck in business and in life. It's how to stack the odds in your favor and cash in on success. And the premise is, luck is not a fluke. It's an actual formula, right? So you guys have been talking about, how you guys have done, step by step and stack things in your favor and things happen. So I'll just give you a prime example. This guy sitting right here is, had I not been into personal development, had I not, educated myself on how to be a better person, a better business person, I never would have gotten lucky and met David Study, right? I never would have gotten lucky and had, his brilliant brain in raising capital, right? I'm going through the capital raise right now, and he's guiding me in the right direction.
And that capital raise that you're doing right now, that's for a TikTok company that
That's
you're
right.
doing?
So the company's Maxi Media.
Yeah.
And
So yeah, talk about that. I know you got to run. I probably should have brought that
we can
up.
go over it a little bit.
What's that?
We can go over it a little bit.
Oh, okay, good. I wasn't sure if you had like a Zoom call that was waiting.
It is a Zoom, but I told
Well, one thing
we'll delay.
from what you said, I want to mention one great teacher of mine told me one day, success is a mixture of the opportunity, being prepared when you meet the opportunity.
Luck is.
Right? Or
Luck is the
right.
definition when opportunity meets preparedness. Yeah,
right.
one of my favorites.
Thomas Jefferson never said that.
Well, I heard
he
it from
never
mine,
said that
so-
in 1775, right?
I'm sorry, Mark.
But Mark, yeah, you were saying, I don't know much about this. All I know is that David was telling me that you gotta talk to Mark. What they're doing on TikTok, and you're blowing up, investing, all this type of stuff.
Yeah, so right now we're the #1 advertiser in terms of dollars spent in Canada, by far. We're spending $70,000 a day on the platform, which is pretty solid. And I don't know where we rank in the US, but I'll call it top 20.
On TikTok.
Now you're buying media.
So we're
on
buying
TikTok.
media and driving traffic, performance marketing.
Hey, can I ask you about that? Is
Okay,
it
go
on TikTok? So do you do the buying or no?
No, I don't.
You
Well, we had this conversation about hiring the best people to do the job.
Right.
I don't do the creatives. I don't do the buying. I don't do.
How do they target on TikTok? Is that how
It's very similar to Facebook.
It's
Very.
Yeah,
very
they know a lot about you. Look, there's Senate hearings going on about this right now with TikTok. I sent you information about it yesterday. We certainly won't go there, but they know who you are. They know your interests. It's not just the data on what videos you're on. They're tracking you across the device and all these different things. So the bottom line is, if you're looking for a certain user, you'll find them on TikTok. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions about TikTok is that it's a bunch of 17-year-olds watching TikTok. When we did a talk about the Apple TV the other day, and I said that my #1 app on the Apple TV is YouTube. And then we did a survey, and I said to everybody, what are the top 3 apps that you watch? And the answers could be Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, or Disney Plus, Hulu, and YouTube, or whatever the case was. YouTube was in the top 3 of everybody, and 1 in 3 people had TikTok in the top 3.
Oh,
And
our
no, just watch it, what platforms they watch. And Matt says that, like I said, what do you watch more on your phone than anything? Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. He says TikTok. And so in my head, and the look on your face was like, what are you doing on TikTok? And so everybody thinks that TikTok is little kids doing a dance and exploding into new outfits.
right? That's all I see because of my kids.
Yeah. You go on TikTok and you type in one thing about Bitcoin, all you're going to see is, hey, everybody, if you want to know about this new coin that came out, blah, blah, blah. And so all you're going to get on TikTok is investing or finance or insurance or health and wellness. It's the kids, we look at it one way, but TikTok, as marketers are starting to get out there, or information people, they're going out there, and whether they're in cooking or whatever, there's an audience, and TikTok will help you find that audience. And then when you want to become the advertiser, you say, okay, if somebody's into Bitcoin, then as they're going through their ads, there's going to be the Bitcoin guy going, you want to, here's a white paper on everything you need to know about Ethereum.
And how's your product that you sell on TikTok? What product is that?
Well, just to give you guys, before we get there, just to give you guys a tip, is that the difference between, let's say, Facebook or any
he's a
other
media
social
buying
platform
agency, John.
is ad fatigue, right? Ad
Okay,
fatigue.
for other people.
Yeah.
So ad fatigue. So at Facebook, you can have an ad up for what? A month, 2 months, 3 months? Ad
Before
fatigue.
its effectiveness loses.
Exactly. And TikTok, it's gone in 2, 3, 4 days, gone.
Yeah.
So that's why we need, we have over, I think it's over 100 creators now. They're creating ads. They're creating 10 to 15 ads on a daily basis.
So it's a whole new medium to understand the way that it works. Got it. And
like another things, they're called UGC, so user generated content. So the videos they seem to be native to the TikTok platform.
yeah.
So all the creators are native on the platform. They're literally micro influencers.
Yeah. No, there's TikTokers.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's that girl, she's from Parkland. Her and her sister, I don't know if she's still #1 on TikTok. She does the dancing. She went to meet Gary Vaynerchuk, and he gave her advice on how to not stay just on one platform and build an omni-channel presence and all these different things. But the TikTok algorithm loved her, and I can't believe I'm not remembering her name, but if anybody Googled top TikTok sisters.
But I can tell you,
I
can tell you.
And they had to move from, one second, they had to move from Parkland. What you were saying to me earlier, David, about when people find out who you are.
Oh, yeah.
They were getting 30, 40 people a day with banners out front side of the house saying, come out, come out, come out, because their information was public. The parents had to move them to another place, and pretty much like you get a who is guard for, for your domain. They had to like protect their identity and everything because people were showing up at their houses. They got so big.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like Elvis not being able to go bowling.
Yeah. Oh, Charlie D'Amelia or something like that is her name.
I hear that from my kids.
Charlie and her sister were from Parkland? I don't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
Interesting. Yeah, those girls are unbelievable. Very proud of them. They've done an amazing job.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. If I was 15, 16, I don't know how I couldn't get sucked into the lure of, you're seeing people starting podcasts and influencers.
My kids want to do it. Dad, please, we want to be influencers. We want.
I say let them do it.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's not about just letting them do it. It's like, oh God, I have another job now. I got to go. They're not going to be able to pull it off. So I've got to set them up. And
yeah.
So I'm going to hire them a YouTube coach. Here,
Yeah.
There you go.
I was looking at the metrics for TikTok, like how much money you make per view. I think it's something like 3 cents for 1,000 views, something like that. You make, I forgot, but I was looking it up yesterday. I just Googled it and it like came up in the little drop down collapses. But so these kids are
300 million.
Yeah, they're getting checks. I think you have to have something like 100,000 views in the last month and 10,000 followers. Don't quote me on that, but I read it last night on my phone. But it's like, so you can't. But once you get to that point, you can ask to become on their advertising platform. And there are people we talk about.
I think we would have so much success if we advertised on TikTok.
Well, I just started thinking about that.
I think we have such an audience on TikTok.
That's why I'm asking right now these
stuff.
questions, and I want to look at it. My question is the conversion. Is how many people?
He knows it.
Yeah, well, how many people are actually on TikTok that are going to want our particular product? That's the
A ton, I think.
Demographic is skewed
The person is the person.
every day. Right? So it's not just Gen Z that are watching the platform. Like we spoke about. It is
Well, then there you go.
Yeah, so
Ridiculous for us not to.
This is the same thing. I did a little breakdown for Alex Jeffries the other day on the way YouTube works. I said that you could advertise to anybody that's on this particular watches this video, this channel is targeted this way, but you could also say that anybody that has been anybody that's visited this website. So now that I target this website,
Retarget them.
right.
Now retarget
Well,
them.
now I can target. It doesn't matter. Then YouTube, if they're watching a video from Gordon Ramsay on how to make the best burger, my ad is going to show up for Groove
Right.
because I said if they visit this website competitor login page.
Doesn't matter what else they're doing.
Exact. So that's how you got to look at TikTok.
Right.
It does. So once they know who they are, if you're interested in Bitcoin and you happen to flip around even something that wasn't related to Bitcoin, you're interested in, let's say, Elvis memorabilia.
Right.
You'll be going through that.
Dressing like a drag queen.
Right. Exactly. And next thing you know, you're going to see a Bitcoin.
Few minutes. So if you want, ask him whatever questions you want to ask him because he might have the answers, he might not, but you've got the expert sitting right here.
Do you do media buying for clients for TikTok?
Do we do media? No, we drive or exactly like David, where we drive traffic for different verticals. So
For verticals.
education, loans, finance,
Right.
auto, things
Yeah.
like that. So
Gotcha.
clients know. But could I get you on a call with our guys and teach you A to Z? Absolutely.
I'd love to get on
Absolutely.
that
That'd be
call.
fantastic.
Yeah, I'd love to get
I'll
on that.
definitely do that.
Yeah.
Okay, please.
That's exciting.
I'd love to.
That's exciting.
And I mean, I could figure out the platform. I guarantee it would take me,
Here's
a day
another
or two, but I'd rather have the shortcut.
So here's what we do. Here's the challenge, right? The challenge is getting the creators. We've got a whole network of creators. So we do produce videos and creatives for clients. So we can do that for you as well.
So maybe we could become your client.
There you go. Maybe.
Sounds like a shortcut.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe
A lot of geniuses in this room today.
To get
A lot of
it-
geniuses here. All right.
Some smart guys across from us. That's for sure. All right. So what we'll do, Mark, we'll let you get going so you can get that phone call taken care of. We'll keep David on for another 10 minutes. We'll talk about how he grew his company and all that, and then I'll start a webinar. I got to start a webinar at 12:30, and then we'll all go out to lunch. All right.
Thank you very much.
All right. All right, big hand
Thanks, Mark.
for Mark Lachance, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think I'll
Lucky
ever say it any
formula.
difference. Lachance, Mark Lachance. No, we're staying on.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll keep. He's gonna go and we're gonna go on with continue with David for
How
a
do we
few
shut
more
this
minutes.
thing off?
Oh,
Here.
there's a little button at the bottom. You
There
gotta
we
press
go.
and hold
He's
it.
got it.
All right, let's sit up. We're still live. Sorry.
Sorry.
No problem. All right, so we went to a football game
Yeah.
the other day. John.
Too bad those Dolphins, they
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah, that was a tough game.
Yeah,
that was certainly a tough game.
They're gonna.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Let's come up here.
Matt's doing the coffee. You can come right over here. And here, give me your mic. We'll shut it off. All right, cool.
Actually, going to probably get a new quarterback out of that loss. So,
High school quarterback?
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So for this one, you got to be this close for them to hear you. All right. So yeah, we got to go to a football game.
Yeah.
And we did what I think is the cool thing about
What? Sit in
getting
a
to know people. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Was it what?
suite? Said what? Sit in a suite? Come on, buddy. Thank
Sit in
you.
the suite.
Yeah.
We got to know each other before we even really dug deep on the business, and I like the fact that I'd be able to get to know you more live on the podcast. And,
Right.
and so John knows I say that, like, leave it for the podcast, because sometimes we don't get that natural. I end up saying, well, you said this. So, you had a company that was doing 20 million and went to $500 million. Is that right? Am I getting those numbers right?
Yeah, in a nutshell.
In a
Yes.
nutshell.
Yeah.
What was some of the things over 10 years that you would say were some of the breakthrough things, like some major, like, wow, this was an accelerator in the way that we built our business?
You know, first and foremost, guys, what it comes down to is it's always people, right?
Mhm.
You know, you could start playing inside of different verticals, right? And what we call it is getting a toehold, right, in a vertical. But if you want to get a foothold, well, you're either going to have to buy people or you're going to have to buy companies,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we did.
Or both.
Or both,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we did. We started to go out there, and I call it apple picking, right?
Mhm.
Because the people are out there and they're working for other companies. And I guarantee if you start having conversations, you start asking questions about, hey, how you doing? Are you happy? Is everything cool?
Mm.
And most people are not happy.
Yeah.
Why are people not happy? Because they're not being treated well where they're at. So that gives you that opportunity to apple pick them, right? Because I always say, never hire someone that doesn't have a job. The reason why they don't have a job.
That's
You see that a
great.
lot.
That's
I
great.
remember, like, Google, they bought this email company, app company,
Right.
that was exploding. I remember all the people, oh, this sucks, now that Google bought it. But the second Google bought it, they shut it down. They bought the company for the talent they wanted to do some more stuff with
Right.
Gmail app, and they
Right.
were like, this is a company that gets it. But they
Right.
told the people that ahead of time.
And this
so
is a group of people
they
that know
bought
how to
the
do the
company and
development.
said, hey, but we want to give you some senior roles in this division of the company.
I used to ask people, if you do you want the job or do you need the job?
Right.
And if they need the job, they never get it.
Right.
It's
Did anybody answer that question wrong?
I swear, a lot of times. Listen, you don't know how bad I need this job. You're like,
I get-
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, interesting. So when you buy a company, how does a founder feel like when they're getting? Does the founder leave and then you keep the other employees, or does this founder become an employee?
You know, every situation is different, right? If you're buying a company just with technology, a lot of
Yeah.
times you don't need the founder unless
Yeah.
the founder is a technologist,
Yeah.
right? But what we try to do is we want to structure things where we want to keep everybody,
Yeah.
right? You want to keep the team, you want to keep the founder. The founder needs to, well, look, we're enriching the founder, right? Is that good? There you go. Look, you're enriching a founder, but the founder still needs purpose, right? Founder still wants a reason to get up in the morning,
Yeah.
right? There's more zeros in their bank account, but now you're having them become part of a much larger organization where they're taking an executive role, and now they're reading off our playbook, right? We're sharing the playbook. And now you have a bigger team and a better team, and you're able to go out there and accomplish more, right?
Yeah.
But then we're taking that business that person created, right? And he or she has gotten that business up to, let's just say, 20 million or 30 million. But now they're going to operate that business inside of our ecosystem, right? With our capabilities, right? With our super abilities, if you will, that we're adding to that specific company, right? Synergies. And now he's seeing that business go and grow 5 million in additional revenue, 10 million, 20 million, 30 million. It becomes really exciting again, right?
Yeah.
So do the extra zeros compensate for the ego and the pride that
No, of course not.
the zeros don't compensate for that?
No, of course not. Those zeros are never going to compensate for that. These guys eventually are going to start their own business again.
Yeah.
So they're going to
If they're a real entrepreneur.
right. So look, they're basically motivated to stay on for a certain period of time, right? Once that's over, at that point, they've got a choice, right? It's like leasing a car, right? Do I like the car? Do I want to, keep it? Do I want to buy it? Do I want to release, my
It's like a
app?
wife.
You want a new dog or a puppy?
Exactly. See, we talked about that, right? So that's it. Most of these guys.
You said it subliminal. I just was on the note.
Right. Most of these guys eventually going to start their own business.
That was a joke,
right?
ladies back home.
Inside joke.
Yes,
Right.
nothing to do with.
Exactly.
It's just all about puppies.
All about puppies.
Okay, we'll have the puppy podcast.
Welcome back to the puppy podcast.
That's right.
All right. So, for you, you were telling us something about going public.
Yeah.
A different type of going public. I still haven't Googled it. Shame on me.
Yeah.
You called it Reg A.
No, SPAC.
Oh, SPAC.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is that?
SPAC is a special purpose acquisition company,
Mhm.
right? It's back in the day, they used to call it, wait, doesn't offer me a drink? You just get a drink? Come on, man. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Cream and sugar or black?
So
He's
basically, special purpose acquisition companies, very similar to
Special
where-
purpose acquisition SPAC.
company, right? Back in the day, it used to be backing into a shell, right? So now they created a fancy acronym for it, right? So what ends up happening is you have these investors that go out there, they all put X dollars into the shell, if you will, which is the SPAC. The SPAC has 2 years to identify a good company that they want to vote in as the company that will now take over that SPAC, and now it will, be a publicly traded entity, if you will. It's a little bit more involved. We need a much longer conversation, but do yourself a favor. If anyone's interested in SPACs, just go online, type it in. It's
SPAC?
SPAC.
SPAC.
Special
SPAC.
purpose
Yeah.
acquisition company.
There's still a lot of them. Every day on CNBC, they're talking about SPACs every day.
Yeah, the good news is you live local.
I do.
We live very close to each other.
Yeah.
I'd love to have you back on the podcast just to talk about that. I'd love to have a conversation for us and for everybody out there on raising capital and the different types of capital. For you, one of the things when we first had a chance to meet last week for lunch at Louis Bossi, one of the things I picked up for you was that you're unapologetically a lifestyle entrepreneur. That's like there's a lot of things at your point in your life where you figured out a certain path to get to where you want to be, and if it impedes too much on your lifestyle and your family and things like that, it's not an option.
That is very accurate.
Yeah,
That's very accurate.
and so talk about that. How you were able to become an entrepreneur that, as opposed to Jim that we were talking about before, the avatar Jim we were talking about, that was just, if I don't do it, it doesn't get done mentality. How'd you break through that?
What it comes down to is we all have something that we share in common, right? What do we all share in common? It's time, right? And we all have an expiration date. We just don't know what that date is, right? But we just know the date of arrival. We just don't know the date of expiration, right? So what ends up happening is you start to really think about those things as you mature. And as you mature, you basically say to yourself, it's okay not to do everything on my own. It's okay to let others do it. And it's okay to enjoy your success, right?
Yeah.
It's okay to take good care of yourself, right? It's okay to have a good relationship with your wife and your kids and just to enjoy this amazing journey that we're on, right? And I think I touched on this with you guys, right? We talked about the puppy again, right? So we touched on this. I believe we did, and what we touched on was that success is an addiction, right?
Oh yeah.
Success
Yeah.
and addiction. It's no different than alcoholism.
Yeah.
It's no different than
It's a
being
good,
on
it's
drugs.
a good
healthy
addiction.
one.
Now, if you're going to have an addiction, that's,
Yes, but let's talk about that
Yeah.
addiction for a second, right?
yeah, but every addiction can be destructive, right?
That's absolutely correct, right? So what you have to do is you have to get to the point and say, well, how much is enough, right? Because I am friends with billionaires, right, where they have everything. They have the lifestyle, right? They have the homes, they have the yachts. They have pretty much everything that most people want. Yet what do? They continue to go out and work, right? I'm not saying don't work. Work differently.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Work a little bit more intelligent.
What was
You know,
that line in the Wall Street movie where he said, how many yachts or how many yachts do you need to tow behind your, what was that? Remember
Yeah, I remember Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Where the younger guy said, like, how many yachts do you need? Is it when's
Yeah.
enough? Like
Right.
how many people
Here's
are
the
you gonna
difference.
hurt?
Here's the difference. We all hustle.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah, it's cliche, right? But you have to take the time to smell the roses.
that's right.
And for me, stopping in the last 7 years to take the time to smell the roses, it's that expression, once you've had steak, you can never go back to chicken. I can never go back and give that up. I used to brag about how, I work 8 days a week, I work 26 hours a day, and I'm up till 4 a.m. And, at a younger age, maybe there was a time and a place for it,
Right.
but it did get to the point where I used to feel guilty about taking a Saturday and a Sunday off. And now it's gotten to the point that I take the weekends off. It is well, for me at least, it's not a concern for me anymore for travel.
COVID was actually good for all of us. It really.
Why do you say that?
I say that because it really gave.
Because
all
that's
of
a
us-
hot topic, but I agree with you on that.
I think
But
it was good for all of us, man. I think it's good because we got the chance to be with our families. We got a chance to be with ourselves. We got a
Yeah.
chance to be away from the office,
Yeah.
right?
taking
got it.
away the tragedies and the
deaths.
of
Yes,
course,
yeah,
right?
okay, yes,
yeah, just to stop the comments
Oh,
going.
right. Okay, sorry.
Of
Of
course,
course. Like,
yeah,
oh, who
yeah.
is this guy? No, my point is, if we broke away from the office.
Yeah.
Okay. The office is okay, but the office is also something that it can be detrimental.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, what a paradigm
It was-
shift.
it was the
People
biggest
had a-
silver
people had
lining
a better
for our
relationship with the
company.
office than they did with their own children,
Right.
than they did with their own wives.
And so many don't want to go back now.
We live in
They
a
don't wanna go
post-COVID
back.
world. We
Right.
live in a post-9/11 world. There's a post-COVID world, and when the world, when my mom uses Instacart, and before she didn't know how to download the app, right? And so now my mom,
Right.
I put the card on there. She's getting her own stuff. She understands Zoom because she had to do it with her doctor,
Right.
And so you can never make that shift to the world unless that happens.
Forced on
And
them.
now we live there, and people are saying to their boss at Google, I don't want to work in the office anymore. I'm more effective here, and I can prove it to you. And people don't want to go back to the office. And even Google is saying, all right, if you're not going to work in the office, we'll pay you a little bit less. And people are like, yeah, I'll take 10% pay cut.
Right.
Let me work from home.
It's lifestyle.
They have less electricity. They have less carbon footprint.
They
have
already
less-
built the Googleplex. That's the problem. It's all
right.
empty.
That's right.
Yeah, they can sell it. They'll
Look,
sell it off.
California, the smog went away.
Look at in Venice, the dolphins returned.
Exactly.
The porpoise returned to the to swimming in
That's
there.
right.
A lot of things.
That's right.
A lot of good things.
Yeah,
for
a
the
lot
planet.
of great things happened.
The planet took a breath.
It did take a breath. Now, here's something else that, growing with, I have 2 girls, right? Both girls are in college.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest things that one of my daughters said to me, my daughter Jessie, she said to me, Dad, right? I really love that my friends know you. What do you mean? She goes, I don't know my friends' dads. I know they have a dad. Never met him. Think about that for a minute.
Can't take that for granted, right? Like
Right.
what it's like for you and for your kids to have a relationship with their father.
Yeah.
And to be able to, you need a ride to the soccer game or whatever that is. For me, my dad was an entrepreneur. He owned a Mazda Peugeot dealership in Wantagh, which was about 45 minutes from the house. And the dealership closes at 9.
Mm-hmm.
That means my dad was leaving at 10, and he was home at 10:30 to 11 o'clock. And my dad and I had a very good relationship, but he would come home and he'd wake me up and he'd say, come on, Keek, get up. And I'd be like, I want to sleep. He's like, come on, get up. And I would get out of bed and go sit at the kitchen table with him like this. And I joke about it, but this is what I remember. He'd have his pack of the saltine crackers, one at a time, and he'd be taking his camembert cheese and then a little bit of like jelly, and he'd be talking to me about his entire day.
That's awesome.
His entire day, what it's like to negotiate with. Probably led to some type of stereotyping that I had. I'll use that polite word that I had to learn to unlearn. But this is how an Italian negotiates. When an Italian negotiates, Mike, you have to be more concerned about shaking his hand than getting him to sign, because he'll say things to you like, with me, once I give you my word is everything. And obviously it was stereotypes and different things like that.
He also didn't want to get his ass kicked.
Yeah, exactly. It was New York. We had the mob, But what was great is that's all I had with my dad was that. And I'd be lucky. He worked on Sundays and everything.
Right.
I can't imagine what it would have been like if I had my dad like working from home, the type of relationship I probably could have had. Yeah, you guys are blessed.
Yeah, but it sounds with you is really more of the quality, versus the quantity.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he woke you up and the fact that you got out of bed and the fact that you sat there and you could tell the story, that means a lot.
Yeah.
And knew the kind of cheese too.
That's right.
My dad raised me good. I'll always talk about how I got the belt maybe 3-4 times in my life, and I deserved it every single time. My dad was big on punishment with like putting me on my knees on a wall. And if I got back down and sat on my butt, he added another 5 minutes. He used to make me clean the house as punishments and things like that. And so I had everything I wanted in life. I didn't have to wait for Christmas or my birthday. My dad made me earn everything. Everything was a negotiation. You want this? All right, get this in grades. And that's how I learned how to forge grades. No, I'm just kidding. Get these grades, do that, do this with the lawn, do these chores and all these different things. And he would come home and I would say, Dad, can I get the new football or new hockey stick? And he'd be like, oh, let's go inspect. And he would inspect. And if it wasn't, he would tell me, you didn't think I'd notice that. And I'd be like ashamed, like thinking, oh, I'll just tuck my clothes in the hamper, but it was supposed to be washed or whatever. And so, yeah, I definitely think that nothing came easy for me with my dad, but he did give me everything I wanted.
That's part of the ingredients. And, we all have ingredients, right?
Yeah.
That's what brought all of us here. And those ingredients will give you an outcome. And clearly those ingredients didn't give you a bad outcome, did it?
No, I love my dad. I still talk about how.
Would you ever change those ingredients, man?
Nothing, not a single thing. Not a single thing for my dad.
And I guarantee you've got some ingredients too.
Yeah, especially with my dad.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. I don't even want to get started because it'll make me start to cry. But
don't cry.
No, I won't. But and it was a very similar relationship that Mike had. My dad was always working, always had his own business, but managed to find time for me and managed to do things that that changed my life and made me who I am.
So, guys, we're going to have to leave it there. I'm talking like the people on the news.
Actually pick up my children.
We're going to have to leave it right there. Love to have you back on. Obviously,
My
we're going to do some lunch. It's 12:27. I've got to start the 12:30 webinar. We've got to dial in, switch the studio up so I could get with John Benson. So, all right, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Groovy Marketer with Mark Lachance and David Steiff. I got it right. There we go.
Right, my man.
And we're gonna have David and Mark back. Where does Mark live, by the way?
He's he just bought a house in Parkland.
Oh, great. Yeah. Okay, cool. We'd love to have you guys on. And I'll add you to the GroovePlex. You guys can literally just pop in anytime you like and just be regulars on the show. We try to not have a podcast that is like, so today we're going to talk about how to do effective bullet points. We might get to that one day, but we just like to let people see who we are a little bit different. And it's just kind of like just an entrepreneurial show, kind of like we did today. So thank you very much. All right. And Matt over there in the peanut gallery. All right, everybody. That wraps it up for the Groovy Marketer. We'll see you next Wednesday. No, we won't. We're not going to see it for a couple of weeks. Next Wednesday is GrooveCon, and then the Marketers Cruise, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Take care. Bye-bye.